get to one there actually. Okay, where are we at? Hello everybody. Let me shut my door because I can hear my children screaming. Right. Look at me in my comfies. I'm gonna try and find my inks. Just looking for my Tim Holtz Ranger Distress inks because my samples of the ones I was developing got robbed in Frankfurt. So, just trying to find. Ah, there we go. Are they the right colours though? Let's look. Okay, no worries. We will do it with paint. Let's do it with paint. How is everyone? Oh, 15 of you already. How's everybody? Let me get this off as well. I hope everyone has had a lovely week. Ours has been incredibly busy. But it's all good. Oh, I just saw someone is in Egypt, which is that's the first that I've seen on these lives. Where am I at? Where's my head? What going on? Let me move some stuff. You can tell I'm not the most organised of people. Going to be using Alpine Adventure, which is our last workshop outdoor set. I don't know whether we've used this in a sort of... I know we've used this on a live before, but today we're going to focus on kind of light and doing a nice soft glow. Holding a hairbrush. Oh, that made a nice... it's reflecting. That's cool, isn't it? Anyway, let me get on YouTube. And then I need to find myself. Josh Griff. Oh no, it's Beyond Stamping. You type on YouTube, isn't it? Beyond Stamping. Then, and I'm live. Okie doke. Turn my sound off. There we are. And now I should be able to see all the comments here. Yep, there we go. So let's have a look. We've got hello Hugh first here again. Last time I think was the first time I've ever known Hugh not to be the first here. We've got Trudy, Pauline Lenny. So, Katie Viflik, I hope I've pronounced that right. Hello from El Gauna in Egypt. And then we've got Kathy. Hi, Kathy. Sharon Lawrence. Susie's on. She says, hello, I'm all right. Thanks for asking. Rosemary Davis. Hi, Jop. Hi Josh, all is well. She didn't say Jop, I said Jop. The Orchard Cottage. Hey everyone. Can't believe it's Wednesday night again. Yeah, that's what I think. The week's gone really, really fast. We've had a lot to do. All sort of businessy type stuff, which is not very me. Susie's much better at that sort of thing. But it boggles my mind. So, today I'm going to do, I thought we'd do like a camping scene. Can't remember if we've done one before with this, but we'll do it differently anyway. And I really want to show you what's in this thing. But I can't, and that it really pains me. But soon. Okay. Snow and hail, yeah, we had, so Pauline Leddy said we had snow and hail in Lancashire. Lancashire, is it? Defo Lancashire and not Lanarkshire. I always get those two mixed up. Ooh. Oh yeah, I see. It's because Susie said, "Hi everyone, thanks for joining this on this crazy weather day." It has been mad, because well, first it snows or hails, and then it goes really, really sunny, and then it goes like grey, and all of a sudden everything gets dark, and it's like, oh, the heavens are about to open. Okay, let's do some stamping. Let's get off to a good start so we can have a very, very long time stamping. Move this round. Move this like this. Do this. Do this. And that's worked. Let me get it all proper. Shed some light on the situation. Now, I think I'm prepared. Got my inks, got my watercolours, got my water, got my brushes, and my pen. And that is it. Any newcomers today? Let's have a look. Shall I mark out my scene on here? Right. So, I can see that about there. There. Yeah, I can sort of see the area, and I'll be able to see it on the screen anyway. So I thought what we would do is really focus on light now, but like a moody light. Now, I'm a big fan of camping. I don't often tell anyone, but I once walked from Mexico to most of the way from Mexico to Canada. I ended up getting a really bad knee, and I had to fly home. But I'm a big fan of camping. So let me turn this up as well. Boom, 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 boom. There we go. So I'm going to start by putting my fire down. It's going to be a focal point, but anyone who's come to one of my workshops will know that I don't like a focal point in the middle. So I'm going to put my focal point, let's do it here, bit down. I talk about something called rule of 3, which a lot of people know about rule of 3. It's basically things look better if it's split into 3 sort of sections rather than 2. So this fire is going to be at the top of my bottom section. There'll be a little middle bit here and then a top bit there. That's how we'll do it. Now, I know that this is going to be my fire. So my tent, I'll put somewhere there as well. This is it. It's going to take me back to my hiking days. My friend Tom and we went on a hike. Where am I going to put this? I'll put it. Shall I mask it? Yeah. I'm going to put it behind there. So my friend Tom and we went on this hike together. We raised money for charity for the Countess of Chester Hospital, because that's where my sister works now, and she's on the neonatal unit. Which is a difficult thing to talk about, really, because that is the same unit that one very nasty person worked, but I shan't go into that. But those who know that I'm digressing and shouldn't be talking about that sort of thing. Let's carry on with happy things. But yeah, we did it for Countess of Chester, and we raised a lot of money, and it was really fun, but it was hard. And one of the things that I mostly remember was how much I loved getting back into my tent in the dry, especially when it was raining. Put some mountains in the distance over here. Like that. Because the rain made the tent really, really cozy. Okay. So there's mountains in the distance. It's going to be nighttime because they've got a fire there. I might make it a bit snowy as well. Let's do a horizon of trees. Like this. These are trees that are kind of going up. So the way you use these trees is make sure that they're all pointing upwards. So they go like that. So when I say going up, they're slanting upwards, almost like sort of a staircase. And then there's another layer of trees which are smaller, like this, and they go into the distance this way. So these are like distant forests in the background. Sorry if you can hear my children screaming. They're not in any distress, they're just doing it. They can sense I'm doing a live, that's why. Right. I don't know if my comments have stopped working. Am I on? Oh yeah, they have actually. Let's have a look. Let me get off this. Ooh. And the comments will likely appear. Oh no, where have they gone? Somehow I've gotten rid of the comments. Let me see if I refresh it, then I can see them. Boom, 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 boom. Oh yeah, I think they're coming back. Let's have a look. There we go. So Susie said that Lowry wanted a toothbrush, but I can't work out which colour she wants. That's why she's crying. I can't, for some reason, I'm not able to scroll through the comments. Am I still alive? Yeah, I am still alive. A few technical problems. Let's have a look. Oh, I can see them. Hi, Angela. Okay. I can't see myself. For some reason, the live has stopped on mine. Tell you what. Oh, it's this. It's the laptop. Right, so I'll crack on. Hopefully, everything's all good. I can see the comments though. Let's put this here. Okay. Now, what other trees have we got? Well, that's good. I for some reason the laptop's doing a weird thing where, but I can see the comments coming up anyway, so that's all right. Oh, really? Okay, yeah, I think our internet went off, but we're fine. So what I'm doing here is I'm building up a scene, distant forest there, and we'll talk about this as I start to paint it. Now I'm not using all the elements from this set. This is just going to be enough different elements to show a camping scene. And actually looking at it, it is making me feel really nostalgic about my lovely hiking trip. Where's this going to go? Now, if I do it there, it's going to look a bit too much like goalposts. And I don't know if anyone knows what I mean by that, but that's the composition thing that I'm talking about. So I'm going to do it on this side here, and I'm going to slant the tree out slightly this way, just because I think it adds to the composition. Let's put in a few little bushes. There's a lot of versatility in this set. Right, what else have I got? There's loads actually. Do you know what? I know what I'm going to do. Now these elements here, there's two. One looks like this. I'll show you. Let's do it here. And then the other one is the opposite of that, but it's a slightly different shape. And it looks like this. So I've got to think where to put these. Now, these are supposed to be two sides of a stream. So you can have the stream going as wide as you want. You can have it there, like this. I'm going to do it really quite narrow, like this. Wait, have I done it? No, I'll do it a bit higher so I can show you what I mean. Now, it's not going to be a stream. This is going to be part of the hiking trail. And the way that I will make sure that it looks like that is by adding a few little bits. And I'll show you now. So there we are, showing that there's multiple uses, as always, for a lot of elements in these sets. I'm going to put these here, nice little fern. And then, what else? See, I could have a waterfall. I could put this waterfall in the distance somewhere. No, I don't want to do that. I use the waterfall a lot. I'm trying to think, what could I use? There's a lot of elements to decide from. Tell you what, there's another little bush here. I'll do that. And then I will, let's add that here. And then the rest is going to be pen. But I've got everything there. I could just paint that. I hardly have to add any pen. But we'll go into today because I really want to get the best out of this. So the first thing that I'm going to add with the pen, I'm going to turn this into a proper rock. Now this element here can be an outcrop on the side of a big rocky mountain, or as I'm using it now, just on a kind of freestanding rock. And when I do rocks, I'll start drawing the base in a little bit, but I might add in some of my little sort of classic rock pairs along the bottom because I just think it adds something. Follow these lines along. Maybe add a few of my own little bits of shading. I like that. And then there's trees coming out from behind that. The bottom of the tree here, I don't like just ending the trees because there always seems to be sort of bits of grass there. I don't know what it is, but at the bases of trees, maybe I just think that because it's always like that when you try and mow the grass. Because you can't get to the bits that have poles sticking out. Let me do a few little bushes here in the distance just to hide these distant trees there. Right. Now, as I said, this is going to be the trail rather than a stream. So the way I'll do that again is by just adding a few little rocks on there, on there. As we get into the distance, they could just become dots instead. Like that. And now it's no longer a stream, and when we paint it, it'll sort of reinforce that as well. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it wind along into the distance and go behind this tree. Like this. Maybe another rock in there. So this is now part of a trail that's snaking off into the distance. And the trail goes somewhere over there. Okay. Because this now reminds me of the PCT, which is the little trail that I did. Carry on these bushes. And it always felt like you were just aiming for distant mountains. And you knew that at some point you were going to get on top of one of the mountains and one of the passes. Okay, so there's that. Now, as I say, it's going to be nighttime, so I'm going to be using some bold colours on there. Let me see if I can get my internet back so that I can have a look at the comments, because I can't see them from here. Let's see whether anything's happened. Let's have a look. Something's happening. I can see more comments. Oh, wait. Yeah, there we go. I've missed something. Where is... Oh, I hope you are having it. Where is Angela Benyon? Because... I saw that Hugh said, I hope she's having a lovely time. Oh, are we talking about the workshop maybe? Someone asked what tape I use. I am just using any low tack tape. The one we've got at the minute, I'm not sure where it's from. It might be the Works, or it might be one that we got last year from Sostrine Green, but I'm not sure. It was raining in Egypt. Katie, I feel like that's something out of, you know, like Day After Tomorrow or something. Okay, so let's zoom in a bit if we can. No, I don't think we can. But we're going to start adding some colour. So I want to get the light right. Do you know what? I can actually turn the light on this as well. Let's see if it works. No. I think there's a button on here as well to do it. Let's see. Yeah. There we go. So we've shed some light on there now. That might turn off, but it's quite nice to have a lot of light. Okay, my trusty paintbrush. Where's that gone? Have I dropped it? Had it a sec ago. Get the paints out. Where have I put my paintbrush? I literally had it in my hand a second ago. Can see another one though that I use. Ooh. Let's have a look. It bent a bit, this one, because it's been in my box. But never fear. I can still use it, but look at that. It's been pushed against the thing for ages in the box. Where is... Oh, found the other one. Okie dokie. Right then. So, here's what I'm going to do first. I'm going to take some yellow, a warm yellow. So anyone who is coming to one of our upcoming workshops, things like warm colours and cool colours, they are on the agenda. So I'm really excited about that, actually. I think it's going to be really good. So what I'm doing, I'm just doing a nice area of warm yellow around that fire, and that's going to give me the opportunity to later add colour in, but keep it as lit up as possible. Then let's add a bit more of an intensity to that colour. So I'm going to add a bit of green in. And then as I go, I'm going to start increasing the saturation of the colours. I want it to be less saturated around this fire. But let's do that gradually. So just adding in a few different colours. As I say, now it's different than the normal way that I do painting here, because normally, as most people know, I always have the shadow on one side, but I'm not doing that today because my light source is going to be this here. Let's add in a few just little bits, and then some little bits to the ground as well. I'm going to do that here. And notice I'm not changing any colours yet, and probably shouldn't have added them here, but we'll correct that if we need to. Right, so that will have dried pretty quickly, because the way I use paints is that I don't really use much water. Now let's add in some darker greens now. But every time we start adding in a darker colour, I'm going to move a little bit further away from this light source. So I might add in a little bit here. Maybe a bit on these trees. These trees are going to get very dark on the side. And then I can start adding bits of dark shadow underneath some of the elements. When I say dark, all I've done is add a little bit of blue to that green to darken it. But I can start using it for shadows. Now the light source is here, so you need to draw a straight line to the base of the thing that's going to have the shadow, and then that can carry off that way. This will be something else that we can look at in our workshop. So there's that. There's going to be nothing there, and that's staying yellow. Tops of these bushes here, they can have a few little flecks of a different colour. And then maybe starting to look at a little bit of shadow behind this tent. It's more likely to come off this way though, so we'll do that. And then here as well, just hints. Down here like this, I'm going to go so vague, but there's that shadow. Now I'm coming in with a cool blue into the green to do some even darker bits. So the very base can have a bit more shadow like that. So when we get to the very, very base, they're going to be the darkest bits. So I'm adding my shadows in there. Not much around here though. A few little bits here, and then underneath the rocks. Ideally, the shadow should sort of fan out away from, imagine it like you're holding a fan from the light source, and the shadow should be all going in these sorts of directions. But with it being flat up to here, it can only go a certain amount. So it's a bit monotone at the moment, but that's fine. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my sky drawn in here, and I'm going to do that a very, very dark blue because it's nighttime. You're not going to be, try as much as you want. You are never going to cast a shadow on space. Is that profound? I can't tell. It's like I just said it, hoping. Let's get that in there now. So you'll notice I haven't gone a full black. Just going to add it in as I normally do. Now, one thing I think people, well, I don't think, I know, people ask me about it quite a lot is where do you sort of end your picture? And I think the answer to that is sort of, which sounds stupid, but it's like the less you care, the better it looks. Let's carry on doing bits of sky. What I mean by that is, when I do a painting, I don't go right to the edge. I let the paint stop organically. Let's keep going. Now for these mountains, all I'm going to do is I'm not going to add any extra paint to the brush. I'm going to darken this in a sec, by the way. Rather, I'm going to add water. So that just means I'm sort of lightening it. So I'm decreasing or increasing the value of the paints. So I'm just going to go over with this watered down version of this, because it's sort of giving me automatic realism to the colour. Like this. Okay. So, light's coming from here, tent's here. Tents tend to have a bit of a glow. So let me do a kind of reddish orange on the inside of the tent. And that's going to be, someone might be sort of reading their book by torchlight or something like that. Like this. And then that red or the orange hue might just spill out onto the ground around here as well. Might do a few little bits of shadow on here because there could be sort of imperceptible pebbles that are only getting highlighted by the flames. Add a bit of yellow to these flames. Not a lot, because remember it's got to be a light source. Let's do that. Okay, but I will add some yellow around it with a higher opacity, because the flame's more likely to cast colour on things that it is a colour. It's like the sun. The sun isn't yellow. The sun is white. So, when you do a painting, I try and leave the sun as white as possible. Like, so here's an example of a painting I did, like an oil painting. It's not the best one. It's only the start, but you can see what I was getting at with the sun. The sun is the lightest possible bit, and it's only the bits around it that are affected. This is just the very start of a painting, but I started with the sunlight. That's an oil painting though. We've got the other examples I've done. No. Sort of. No. This is one where the sun's gone down. So you can see the kind of atmosphere that I'm going for. A lot of what I do in oils, when I do an oil painting like this, I use the same principles to do my colour, even in illustration. But yeah, so you can see here, the sun's not in this, the sun's sort of going down, but I've used all the colours from the sun, so you can sort of tell that's water because it's reflecting the light. There's bits of orange, it's more orange over here, it's a bit purpley there. So it all comes from the way that I do oils. Okay, let's have a quick look at the comments, because I'm blabbing on. Everyone's talking about the workshop. Oh, I see. They're talking about the Whitby Park thing. Yeah, they increased they increased their prices, and it seemed very unnecessary compared to what they had improved. So there's a lot of Wazamajig sort of brush marks in this here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and get rid of some of them. I'm just going to do that with a wet paintbrush, going in circles to sort that out. I do like to see some brushwork sometimes, but for the sky here, I just want it to be dark. That's better. Okay, I'm using that same blue to darken side of the mountain. That just gives the mountain more of a 3D look. Like that. And then these trees, I'm going to add some green to that that blue. And what you might notice is that I just use what's on my brush, add something to that colour to sort of, to make the colour that I'm about to use next. It's hard to explain. But don't worry, I will get my thoughts in order for the workshop so that we can actually share the information in a nice, succinct way rather than me rambling on. I think because we've been so busy this this past week, it's been hard to get our heads in gear. But the further things go away from you, the less nice warm colours there are in there. So let's add in, do you know what? I'm going to add in a bit of orange before I even start to this rock face here. Anything that's facing towards that flame, which I really wish I hadn't coloured that flame in, it should be stark white, but we'll sort that. Anything that's facing towards it, it's going to get a bit of warm glow off there. And then I can come in with my cool sort of rock colour, which is just a more bluey grey towards the bottom. And just add like little flecks of it here and there. Like that. And then this side is going to be a darker colour because it's facing away from the flame. Like that. And I will darken it even further with some blue. You might notice I don't reach a lot for the black. I tend to darken with colours. That's perfect. Okay. Do you know what I am going to do then? I'm going to add a little bit of magic to this picture using the Storybook Magic set. And I'm going to have two little mushroom people just laughing away because they're magic. Well, they're just having a little interaction. Let's do it. So I'm going to put them here. One there. And then one No, I'm just going to put one. Not feeling two. Just having a look if there's anything else that I can add. No. Let's keep just this one mushroom person there. And again, I'm colouring it lighter on this side, glow of the fire, like that. And then on the other side is going to be where the shadow is. And I want it to be red. I like these mushroom people being red. So I'll colour it darker red on this side, making sure not to go over those lovely little spots. And then I'm going to stop it on that side because that's where it's getting the warm glow. And then what I do a lot, you'll see this, it gets your hands dirty, but if you go like that, squeeze off your brush, you can kind of reverse paint and soak in some of it. It's quite a nice trick, but then I always wipe my hands then automatically on my trousers. So you don't like that. His shadow is going to be this way. And then let's do that. Because there's my light source, there's the base of my object, and it's there. And I'm going to use some shadow on this side of my little mushroom guy as well. And then I can go in even more, some of that red. Make sure there's not much water on my brush and go in to darken it. That's nice. Okay, so now I can go in with another layer of dark green. So that's green, and I'm going to add some red to the green, just a touch, because that will, red darkens green in a way that is a bit closer to brown, and it's a lovely rich dark green. I'm gonna do that here. Let's add that in there. Fire coming down there. So let's really let this plant have a big shadow, because that's what fires do, really. They make things with small shadows have bigger shadows. And now we can add more red to that green to get a soily colour, and I can start adding just elements of soil in there. Nice big purposeful brush marks. And then green it up again on this side. So if I'm doing these nice brush marks anyway, I may as well make them interesting. I might, you know, do little flecks here and that there. And what that does is it makes someone look at it afterwards and go, oh wow, wonder why you decided to do that thing. And it's not a decision, it's just playing. You're playing about. Add some to here. I'm going to just check in case I've missed any questions, because I think I have a tendency to do that on lives. I get so involved in what I'm doing that I miss out on answering your questions, which is what I love to do. Now, as I get into the background there, I'm just going to paint a sort of wash of blue, because I'm fading out the colour as it moves towards the background, and that's called atmospheric perspective. A few little elements of green, just hints there. Maybe some distant trees that are just being painted using paints and not using ink. It's looking good so far. I like it. And one thing that I'm going to do, let me have a quick look at the comments. I can't see anything. Right, I'm going to look back through them because I can see that I'm probably missing stuff. Okay. I can see recommendations for workshop locations. I cannot wait for this workshop on Saturday. I love doing workshops. I really, really do. I'm trying to make it absolutely perfect, so it's what I'm working on. I want to make it so enjoyable because I almost feel guilty about how much I enjoy doing it because you guys pay for it. I'm going to add in a few more dark bits to the sky. Like this. There's not much water in these paints here, so I might have to smooth it out to get rid of that brushwork, but we'll keep doing that until we have something really nice. But do you know what I might do actually? And I love that, but I might, in fact I am going to dip my paintbrush in some ink here. Now this is ink, you can't see it, I'll show you, but it's very, obviously it's ink, so it's really black, but look at that. It mixes really well as well, and it goes a long way. So let's do this for a really black night sky, and then we're going to come in with some little highlights of stars as well. So I'm just mixing this out with some water. Just adds, it's almost like a braveness, I think. It's like, right, no, I want it to be proper black. So the ink that I'm using for this is what I use when I draw with a fountain pen. And it's Winsor Newton. It's just called Black Indian ink. Let's get a few little bits down here. And the fact that that's so dark adds to the background. I've gone over a few little bits. I mean, sorry, adds to the foreground, because in comparison, those bits look lighter now. So, and now I can fade that out. So that ink will dry really quickly. Like this. So let's let that dry. Might use that black. While I've got it on my brush and I'm using it, I'm gonna, it's almost like going on Photoshop and changing the saturation of an image. Just in a few key areas, I am gonna add in a little bit of black. Not much. Let's do that. There. A little shadow here and there. Mainly on rock edges, really. Maybe this little mushroom person's shadow. Let's make it really nice and dark so it stands out. Add a little bit to this plant here and let it sort of blend in. I like that. Okay. That to me is looking really great. So with whatever's left on the brush, I'm just gonna phase out this area here so it doesn't go to kind of stark white. What time are we on, BT Dubs? Oh, we've got 50 minutes. So, I mean, no, we haven't got 50 minutes. We've been painting for 50 minutes, so it's actually worked out really well, this. Let's add in a few little bits. Do you know what? I think the last bit I might do in just adding bits in pen. I'm going to create some nice warm tones here. Add a few little themes around the painting. And now it doesn't matter. I've got my main bit in. So any new bits are they just all look intentional. So it really does remind me of hiking the Pacific Crest Trail a lot. Dark in these mountains in the distance. Just adding tones in. I don't want them to stand out too much. They're almost like highlighted, aren't they? But by what? It's meant to be dark, so let's even bring that down and just cover those mountains a little bit so they don't stick out too much. That's good. Because really the mountains should be sort of enveloped in darkness a bit. Let's play about with them. So what I do a lot of is that rinsing my brush, squeezing it out. Really, it's nice to use a tissue to do that, but who's got time for that? There. Okay. And then I'm going to darken the corners of that tent so that you can defo see there's a light on the inside of there. And there we are. What I imagine in this picture is that the people who are in the tent, or the person in the tent, has no idea that there's little magical creatures running around. And that's what makes this painting magical. He's kind of laughing about it. Do notice that I forget to paint in tree trunks a lot. Has anyone else noticed that? Oh, not anymore. Okay. And as always, I could go on forever and ever and ever with this painting. So I need to make sure that I stop and don't just carry it on. So this one, obviously, with it being, what's the word? It's non-personal. At some point, Susie and I might decide that we do, you know, something like give this painting away with an order or something like that. If anybody would like it, we won't put it up tonight because I know what we're like and we aren't the best at sending stuff out. sometimes. Well, that's my fault, not Susie's. So I'm not going to put it up yet, but soon, when we get a little bit more bandwidth, I'll ask, and people can let us know if it's something that you'd like in your home, sort of thing. But I hope you do, because I love that. I love this little painting. There's a lot to it. It looks very technical, but hopefully the simplicities come through. There's little tricks, you know, that thing, the light source, straight line to the base, and that's the way your shadow should go. Straight line to the base, and that's the way your shadow should go. You should always fan out around the light source. As we're pushing further into the distance, we're losing our warmer colours, like these lovely warm greens, and that's because of atmospheric perspective. And then today, I painted it with Wasamajigger ink in the sky, which had a nice effect. It really darkened it and improved the contrast in the picture. So let's have a look at you. Bring you up this way, turn it that way, turn you around this way, put the light at an appropriate place rather than... Ooh, that is a very bright light, isn't it? I do like it, but it can get quite light in your eyes. And here is what we did. Woo! I enjoyed that. I really liked it. So the sets that I used, we had the Alpine Adventure and the Storybook Magic. Let me have a quick look. Oh, I can see some comments on there. So thank you very much to Anxar. Thank you, Paul Morgan Brown. Lesson of the day, be bold. Exactly, that's it. I mean, I stamped this. I didn't draw it. So if I didn't like it, I can always, you know, go back and stamp it again. It's not like you have to get that hand-drawn thing perfect each time. For anyone who's come to the workshop, here's a scene that I made. That's just one scene that started actually using the Fairy Tale set, which is the set that people are getting. It's an exclusive first look, which means it's exclusive to anyone at the moment who is doing the workshop, but it's such a cool set. Now, in fact, let me talk you through this dead quick, because I know we've got, how many minutes? 3 minutes. Let me talk you through this set. Sorry, we were all ready to go then. Let me see, has that worked? Okay, right, so it's really, really cool. This tree here, let me see, I'll get it out. I haven't actually opened this one yet. I use the digital version. So just dead quick so that we can all get excited together. Have a look at this. Now, it's got... Oh, where's my other bit of paper? I had one. Ah, here it is. Oh, no, I've got on the back here. So, I'm not going to paint anything. I'm just very quickly going to stamp a few bits from it. Look at this. So, what I love is you have what looks like, so this element here, this one, I've taken off. This one. It looks like it's a kind of bit of a tree stump. And you know that I like my tree stumps in the sets. Now, I could turn that into a tree stump, like this here. See that? But, and the way that I do that is by stamping this element on the top. So I can have that stamped in there. That turns it into a tree stump. Let me just show you how that works. And then, like this. So that's now a stump, not a tree. But if I then decided, actually, I do want a tree, a big tree, I stamp it, and then I've got the rest of the tree here like this. Early part of it, so I can use that here. I can make it as tall or as short as I like. Like this. And this way you can have a really big tree. And it looks like your typical sort of Disney-esque tree. The piece de resistance in this thing, though, is you have, let me see if I can find it. Right, so what looks here like this, and this is not exactly how we're going to be using it on the day, don't worry. They look like mountains, don't they, basically? So they could be mountains, really nice atmospheric mountains. But what we're going to do is build up on the side of this a little Disney style castle on there. Let's do a turret around the other side, like, put that here. Let's do another turret up here. Ooh. And we can go as tall or as small as we want with this castle. It can be the hugest, most magnificent castle in the world, or you could just use one or two of the elements to, you know, create just a little tower or something like that. And you get the point. There's loads and loads and loads that you can do. Bless me. Little side room there, and then, well, I'm not gonna keep on going with it, but it's one of those where you can add your lines down. Have it going like this. You might put another door in, although there are stamps in there. There's loads of little bits that you can just keep adding. There's a little wavy flag that you could put on the very top. It's got a little flagpole somewhere, but I could put it from here like that. And then we've got this really cool dragon. I'm not going to stamp the dragon. We have woodland that is seen from high above. The tops of trees like this. So that would be, well, it's not going to look right here, but it'd be at the base of there. Anyway, I'll stamp it here. That's what it looks like, but you build it up. We're going to do a big, amazing scene. It's going to be so much fun. I cannot wait. And I can't wait just to meet you all as well and just have the best time ever. So, let me angle us back up. But yeah, I used it. So this is a scene that I put together with it. And I absolutely loved doing it. It's so much fun, this set. Anyway, here's what we did. I hope you all enjoyed yourselves, and I will see some of you on Saturday, and the rest of you I will see next week. Let me just have a quick look at the comments before I go. Jeff Langley, wondered if you across the pond, we do happen to have craft show every now and then in the past. So Jeff Langley, let me know where are you from. Across the pond, is that in the US? I would absolutely love to go and do a workshop across the US. I'd just have to make sure that everybody could get somewhere. And it's a very big place, but let's work on it. I hope you had a lovely time, and I will see you next time. Bye everyone. Bye.